Hello and welcome to Sport Intellect once again. It's been so long for us to come together on the channel, and finally we are back. We will begin with the women's IPL, and then let's see where things go on from then. But I have with me Abel and Sandibani. Let's start with a simple question, right? What do you think women's IPL means to women's cricket overall? Because over the last few years, women's cricket has just taken off to such heights, and I think not many people predicted a long time back. It's become extremely professional. What do you say? All these things that you see in men's cricket are now coming into the women's side of things. The women's 100, for example, has also been very popular. But now, finally, something that people have been hoping for a long time, women's IPL is here. And it's coming at the right time, isn't it, guys? Because recently, Australia versus India series that concluded was almost full house. So things are really taking an upturn for women's cricket, especially in India.
Yeah, I mean,
I start off with
firstly,
you, Abel.
great to be back. I think, Jaren, you have become extremely professional to talk about women's IPL first up. I thought we'll chill and talk about everything else in life. But good to be back in this channel, which everybody thought we had actually stopped at one point of stage. And we also had a sense that we might have actually stopped. But then the fact is that we've been talking in various other platforms, and finally good to be back to where we actually began talking about sports. So it's just sport intellects. And one thing which I can assure you, which I have assured you previously as well, the action from here is going to be pretty exciting for you all, because we have some real in-depth plans which are set up, not just for women's IPL, for every possible league across. And that's something which I can assure you. Now with SA20's knockouts, we are going to be covering that in depth. We're going to be covering games all across the world, which I think is so important for all the viewers to get, and in a different way. I don't want we're not going to give you those normal coverages, sit and talk about cricket, but talk about cricket in a different way, possibly. Uh, Understand it in a different way. So that's something which we want to keep doing. But yeah, maybe talk about women's IPL. I think this is the beginning of something very big. I mean, we all have to understand what this brand could possibly do to the world at large. I mean, the world of women's cricket. We've often spoken about how IPL teams have changed lives of many. How IPL teams have created an ecosystem which is now breeding ground for talent, or breeding out for many, many, many women cricketers. And now I personally think this particular thing, which is the women's IPL, is going to be breeding ground for X amount of, or like N amount of women's cricketer, which is going to be great for Indian cricket and world cricket at large as well. Because you've already seen the interest across the world to be playing in the women's IPL, which is a positive thing to start off with. And glad that we have launched this brand before PSL in itself, because PSL was the first one to announce they're going to be doing women's PSL, but with the economic situation, everything what's happening in Pakistan, I don't see that happening anytime soon. And with PJL going in huge loss, which I thought was a very stupid initiative, now I'm pretty sure that this is the way to go about it. I'm very, very happy that Jay Shah took forward the mantle, which Saurav Ganguly absolutely messed it up in his tenure to really get going. I thought Saurav Ganguly had one thing to do and he did not do well. That was women's IPL. Shame on him. I'm happy that Jay Shah has taken it over forward.
Abel, when you say that it was not a good initiative, PGL, you have to say that Ramesh Raja will be very hurt because he claims it to be one of his crown jewels of his tenure as
And
ACB
where exactly
chairman
is Ramesh Raja right now?
Where exactly is Ramesh Raja
on a
right
YouTube
now?
channel like
Ramesh
us.
Raja is one person who I personally thought is just a puppet to Imran Khan, to be very honest. See, I'm going to be very open in this channel. This channel is not about diplomacy. Yeah, guys, Ramesh Raja is a great administrator. I don't care. To be very honest, Ramesh Raja was a puppet to Imran Khan, and he survived in the Pakistan Cricket Board as long as Imran Khan was there. The moment Imran Khan went out, he got out. The ways were shown right up there. Najam Sethi is another person who has absolutely destroyed Pakistan cricket for the longest period of time. Now he's back in the helm. They had
And
Shahid
let's
Afridi
let's
who
just talk
came.
about Ramesh Raja's career, right? Once Imran Khan went out of the team, he was also kicked out of the team as well,
Yeah,
while in his playing days. And it's
absolutely.
just the case. I think Ramesh Raja is a mediocre player, is a mediocre board administrator,
No,
and a
he
good
was
commentator.
below average player who took one catch in the World Cup, got to fame. He had some oratory skills. He survived in commentary. He came
Yeah,
to
I think
India, earned
commentary
some money.
is his strongest suit, and I think that is where he should
I
actually
think
stick to.
he's really become a poor commentator as well. कुछ बोलने भी नहीं आता बंदे को. He has been talking nonsense since the time he has been left out of the Pakistan Cricket Board. He's been saying that he has been defeating $1 billion baby, and finally he had to come in terms to accept that Pakistan should follow India model. I have to give credit to Jay Shah over there. Whatever you say, this man has got his job through nepotism and blah blah. This guy, in terms of administration, has been a shrewd head. Let's all give it to Jay Shah and Roger Mini there,
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
this, this I think is a Jay Shah like move. You saw the moment Saurav Ganguly got out, Jay Shah was the first one to take the initiative to announce that there's something known as women's IPL. Now to break the record to get 4,669 crore, that in itself says how much of that kind of brand value and how much good he is with brands as well. He's been able to convince the bidders by saying that the valuation of women's IPL in the next 10 years could be more than 24,000 crores or even more than that.
Definitely, and I also think, just to add to that point, I also think that this just goes on to show India's dominance in cricket right now. Be it men's cricket, junior cricket, women's under 19 cricket, India have been dominating the cricket right now, and a lot of credit goes to IPL, because once the fame of IPL caught up, and it started growing, and then suddenly we were the best league in the world in cricket. So we overtook a lot of leagues which were sort of going on for a way longer period of time. When you talk about innovation in cricket, or you talk about something new in cricket, I think the England Cricket Board comes to mind. They experimented with the 40 over cricket stuff, some 45 over cricket stuff, where they were doing like dividing 45 overs into two innings, 20 overs and 25 overs. And then you have when you talk about innovation in cricket in terms of rules, there is the BBL, the Australian Cricket Board, where they try to experiment every now and then. But when you talk about the actual where cricket is growing at the fan base, obviously India is one of the most the most populated countries in the world. Obviously, we a sport that we love, that is going to obviously catch fire, and we are obviously going to take it to the to be the one of the biggest sports in the world. So definitely cricket has been growing, and I think women's IPL is a great initiative, especially because I think when you talk about women's cricket, only two teams come to mind right now: India and Australia are the superior most team in women's cricket right now, and only second to it, and probably very close when it comes to in terms of team composition and talent, I think it's the Indian cricket team. And then you have England, New Zealand following, but the others are really lacking behind when it comes to women's cricket. And not just women's cricket, be it blinds cricket, young cricket. I think PJL was a very shoddy sort of a league, because you want to promote youngsters, but you don't want to promote youngsters to go on, and I mean it wasn't
Man,
something that should
let me
have
be very
promoted.
honest,
Yeah,
Jaren. I want to know your opinion as well. Now, when you're running a league, especially in under
Yeah.
19 level, junior level cricket, right? It's so important to understand talent. I understand even I'll give you a very prime example in our own country called I League, right? You all know about I League, which is the second tier football at this stage for Indian football. So there was a team called Indian Arrows.
Mhm.
Indian Arrows was consisted of players from the under 17 World Cup, which was played in 2017. How many of you remember Rahul KP played for that?
Yeah.
A lot of Indian youngsters, Komal Tatal, a lot of people came
Yeah, I
from
mean,
Indian
I
Army.
remember this one. I think it was created right after the under 17 World Cup that happened
Yes,
in India, and they realized we need to give the youngsters a stage. But I think that's where I agree with
yes.
what you guys have said.
So
I think it's
how did
right.
Indian
It's
Arrows
correct to
come?
promote youth. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the right move to
No, I
promote
mean, as I
youth.
was
So
saying, right?
what was the step taken there? That club was an absolute doldrums as well at the end of the day, because look, you are entering a business, and business needs opportunity and growth. Is
Yeah.
junior cricket the growth? Are you going to see these players playing in junior cricket forever? No. These players, it's like a vicious cycle where it's going to keep on changing. You will see one player play for 1 year, next year he's out of the junior cricket league. There is no loyalty, there is no marketing, there is no promotion with the player. What is the company going to say? If I'm an investor of a junior league, I will be extremely skeptical to invest in a junior league, because there is no face of my company as well. Today, I want to invest in a Delhi Capitals team. Even without Rishabh Pant, I know Prithvi Shaw is the right person for me to go there and make him the face for the next 5 to 10 years. I'm pretty sure he'll stay in Delhi Capitals for all the right reasons and for his future, understanding that he's an appreciating asset. For me, to go to a junior league and start a junior league, that's why you have state level crickets which do not really involve money. You don't have
Yeah.
investors coming and promoting state level crickets. It is the money of the funds which is coming from a particular ecosystem. I want to know from you all, what do you really think of junior cricket league and having a league like IPL, PSL, like PGL? For me, I thought that was just a brand which was born to die. It died the moment it was created. That it is like a very
Yeah, I was just
very
going through some of
naive
the.
initiative which just fell apart.
No, I think the intention was right. I like the intention of it. You want to put some light on the Pakistani youngsters. If they do well, if they appear to do well on camera, then that really attracts investment into Pakistan cricket. It makes Pakistan cricket look better, and at this point in time, they need that. I think the ecosystem, Pakistan cricket ecosystem, is at a very what do you say, at a very crucial junction, because you guys are speaking about Ramesh Raja and how the new cricket administrator is just taken up. The way Ramesh Raja was ousted, right? It shows the amount of politics that is involved in Pakistan at this point in time when it comes to not just cricket, sport in general. I think it was with you, we will be speaking about how hockey has been pretty much undone by it. FIFA banned Pakistan Football Federation. I don't know what it's called exactly, but even
Hmm.
FIFA has banned Pakistan as well. So these are the things that are going on in the background. Pakistan, I think, is only involved in cricket as of now. Aside from that, no other sport is as prominent. And if this is a way the government, I mean, it's for sure that the government has played a hand in it. And we know, those of you who know about Pakistan, you know how army is so into or are so much into the overall administration of the country as well. And I think that's why they really need to start differentiating, because if you guys remember, or at least I hope the Pakistani administrators remember, that there is a rule in ICC which really bars any kind of governmental activities into the cricket association. And the moment ICC gets, I think, some what do you say, incentive to go after the Pakistan Cricket Board, things could get really murky for them, very tricky for them. I think at this point in time, because Pakistan is still a nation which provides some amount of what do you say? I wouldn't say revenue assets, but it does hold its own when it comes to cricketing fraternity. And obviously, ICC is a board-run organization. It's not like how FIFA is, for instance. So that's where I think Pakistan is still holding its own. But days not far away when Pakistan cricket starts fumbling upon, rather collapsing upon itself, and the kind of political weight that's been put behind it, because they've not had a steady what do you say, administrator for a long time. In India's case, and I think that's something that even in India there is some amount of politics that happens. Most of the politicians do end up in BCCI some or the other way. But one thing that's going for India at this point in time is it's Jay Shah who is leading things. It is very stable as of now, and that stability helps. I mean, there are things in the background that people don't speak about, that we don't know. We as public are not told, but at least there is stability, and that helps any cricketing fraternity. And that's where I think Pakistan is majorly struggling. And I think they are able to produce talent, yes, but there will come a point in time, right, whether once the system collapses, then your talent pool is of no regard. It doesn't matter.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
when
what do
when
you
you
guys
just
think of the
when you
recent
just
thing
talk
that
about
happened? I know it's not
the
related to sport as such, but I just
Yeah,
wanted
what do you
to
think?
let you talk. I mean, wanted to let you know, what do you guys think about this? What do you think about the recent controversy that happened with Babar Azam? I mean, it is not exactly cricket, yes, but it is
I
something
mean,
that
it
we need to
is
speak about,
technically
because
cricket, yeah.
something like this happened to Tim Payne, right? And he had to
Hmm.
resign. I think that for me, I genuinely feel there is a movement against Babar Azam and his captaincy for Pakistan. I think it's something we saw when Sarfaraz Ahmed was captain. Of course, his
Yeah.
bad form didn't help. But with Babar Azam now, it's not easy to get a player like that out, because he is still coming out there and performing for you. Even in that New
Hmm.
Zealand series, the England series, he did a decent job compared to some of the other players. I know he did not
Yeah.
score a big one, but he did a decent job, and he's probably been the only batter who's looked to score runs in all three formats. So I think that's one problem, that whoever it is that is wanting Babar Azam out. But I really think people don't, at least people who are controlling cricket in Pakistan don't want him anymore on the helm. And I think it's something to do with Imran Khan regime and whatnot.
Yeah, I personally think somewhat similar is the case over here. But before that, I'll share the screen to let you know what exactly has been happening when it comes to the women's IPL. For a lot of people who were asking as to the biddings and how it has gone about, what you can see on the screen at this point, Amma, is the screen visible for everybody?
Yeah, it is.
It is,
No,
right?
I
So, I think it's about time. I think before we go to Babar Azam, I think it's about time we acknowledge the teams or the bidders who were involved in it, and of course, we will talk about every single thing regarding Babar Azam's controversy and everything which went down in the last 2 weeks or so in Pakistan cricket as well. Your thoughts, gentlemen, especially when it comes to this particular number of bidders, because you have seen a lot of bidders really raise themselves out to come to the entire scenario of franchise to buy this. Now, if you ask me personally, I'll say this in itself says how popular women's IPL can be and how popular people think it possibly can be as well. Because look at the bidding prices. Ultimately, it has gone to 4,669 crores. But look at the other bidders in the market as well. There were a couple of very big franchises like Knight Riders, Punjab Kings, who were also involved in it. But ultimately, if you have to talk about five franchises only, you can own it. But look at the price valuation, which almost everybody has set about. It is
First
all
of
at a
all, I love how Knight Riders have bid the same amount for all the teams. I mean,
yes.
they did not care if it was Ahmedabad or Gujarat or Kolkata. They went for it for
And
all the teams.
funnily, Royal Challengers also had placed a bid for Kolkata, and Royal Challengers had placed a higher bid than Kolkata themselves for Kolkata, which is the funny part in this.
And also, I
So
mean, Adani Groups
think for
had
me,
also bid for Kolkata as
the
well,
funniest
not
part would
the
have
Guwahati
been
and Ahmedabad.
if we ended up with. I mean, for me, I think the funniest part would have been if we ended up with Chennai Knight Riders. That would have been the funniest part for me. Imagine a purple team playing out of Chennai.
yeah, I mean that was pretty amusing for me as well. But nonetheless, I would say ultimately, if we have to talk about one particular thing, I think they really understand a brand value over here. They understand something which is going to grow. That's why we are here to talk about
Yeah.
IPL at large. I think it's about time we talk about it as well. But before that, let's go to Babar Azam, as Jaren rightly asked the question. I think it had happened in a personal space. But if that
Yeah.
woman, whoever has alleged Babar Azam to have conducted in a wrong way, if she would have actually initiated a complaint, then I think Babar Azam should undergo the same procedure which Tim Payne underwent. It happened like last year, and I think
And
Babar
also, I
Azam has
think
got.
Yeah.
with the timing that the Pakistan cricket team is going through, the phase that the Pakistan team is going through, Babar Azam getting alleged for something like this at this point is a bit murky to say the least. But I think still Babar Azam will still be able to play as a player. I think the Pakistan Cricket Board and the Pakistani fans in general right now want Babar Azam to step down as the captain. But the problem for me, for this Pakistani team, is they don't have another player who can replace Babar Azam as the captain. Because Babar Azam is your best player in all the three formats. Because Mohammad Rizwan is probably a very good player in the T20I format, but he has not been performing in the other two formats.
Mhm.
And you have Shaheen Shah Afridi, who is prone to injuries. So Babar Azam is your best bet right now, but he's not a good captain. So I think they just want to get rid of him as a captain, and hence the timing of, yeah. And obviously, if he has done something like that to the
Yeah, but
women,
then for
or
me,
he,
Sandivani, that's the
yeah,
issue with that's the issue I have with the Pakistani fans. Not just I wouldn't say the fans much as the journalist. I mean, I was just going through this whole fiasco on Twitter, right? And when the news broke out, some of the Pakistani journalists with blue ticks straight away went ahead and spread this all around Twitter, and then the moment I think it was Fox News, or there was some questions that was raised against the morality of the girl and whatnot, and I don't want to get into that. But the moment that happened, and there were questions on some of the videos that came out, and the authenticity of the videos, these journalists were right away very quick to turn around and say that Fox Cricket, which is Australian media company or as primarily in Australia, they were wrong to post such things without fact checking. When I think the Australian company just probably reported it based off the facts they got off Twitter from these journalists. So that's where I feel these journalists are very quick, very fickle-minded. Because again, Babar Azam during the T20 World Cup after the England loss, they were very quick to tell Babar Azam should be thrown out of the captaincy for white ball for cricket for Pakistan, and Rizwan should be made the captain. Then automatically the Test series starts, and then Mohammad Rizwan didn't do as well. He was replaced by Sarfaraz Ahmed, and then they were like, Mohammad Babar Azam is the best. He should be our captain. He's just been too good and whatnot. So it's just every day, every ball, the opinions change. And I think I can't really blame the Pakistani fans, because if you call yourself an expert and then you keep changing your opinions every second, then you can't really blame the general public, because you are the source for general public, and general public's obviously going to go off what you say.
True. And I think this is the case with the journalists these days. I mean, you get a piece of information, be it fake, be it real, they just go ahead and breaking news is all that matters. I mean, it does not have to be true all the time. Having said that, if Babar Azam is actually guilty of committing or sending those texts or having that conversation, I think I agree with Abel. I think he should go through the same procedure that Tim Penn went, and I think this is very, very convenient for the players and the board as well. Tim Penn, when he was not actually providing the results that the country needed him to provide, the rumors came out, and the journalist went about, and because the incident that happened with Tim Penn, it was long back. It was around 12 to 13 months back, but they were accused very late.
Yeah.
Similarly for Babar Azam as well, the team is not doing well. The
Sanjay, there's
country
an
is not
interesting
doing
story
well.
behind it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so apparently,
Yeah, I know.
like,
I know the
the
kleptomaniac. I
girl,
know the
right,
girl was a
who was
kleptomaniac.
involved, yeah. So she was accused of a crime, I think, or something of that sort, and she was undergoing
Yeah, she was
persecution
accused
and
of.
not
Yeah,
persecution,
she was accused
prosecution
of
rather.
stealing. Yeah,
And
she was accused of stealing from the company
yeah,
that
so
she
and
worked
then I
for.
think that was a way for her to get a better deal out of it. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to question the girls. The girls' intentions as well, because these can be tricky. Things are still. I think he's back though. As far as I'm aware, Tim Payne is back. He's playing first class cricket, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, he's back, but I
But
think
yeah, I
yeah,
think
we
now it's going to be very
the
difficult for him
moment we
to.
point fingers at Tim
It
Penn,
is
we
very
should
difficult for
definitely
him
point
to.
fingers at the girl as well, because she was equally at fault, if not more. I mean, she was already accused of committing a crime, and then she defended it by putting someone else's profession or career on the
But
line, which
I'll
is
say
totally
all
not
is
right.
well, at this point of stage for Australian cricket. They'll think that was a blessing in disguise for Patrick Cummins to take over the captaincy reins, and he's done a great job since then. So they'll say they
And I
wanted to
mean, Alex
out-spin
Carey
in
as
some
well
way.
is
It happened
taken
in
up the
this way.
mantle. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
Alex
think we
Carey
have
is
to
taking up
dwell
the
much into
mantle. He's
that.
looking
I thought.
good. Very interested to see how he does in the India series as well. But yeah, let's go back to the topic, guys. What do you think of? So let's just talk about women's IPL. Now we have 5 teams here. We have Ahmedabad. There is Adani Sports Line Private Limited with 1,289 crores for Ahmedabad. India Wind Sports Limited, Private Limited, which is again the owners of Mumbai Indians, 9.12 crores. Then Royal Challengers Sports Private Limited, and with this RCB, and then JSW GMR Cricket again for Delhi Capitals, and Capri Global Holdings are the owners of Sharjah Warriors in ILT20. So these are the 5 teams, or the 5 companies that have gone forward. So Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, and Lucknow. What do you guys reckon? I mean, any changes in probably some of the teams that we see? I mean, I think only 2 teams, probably Capitals and RCB. I'm really interested to know, what do you guys think should be the name for Mumbai Indians women's team? Someone told me it should be called MI Women's, but I don't know if My Women's is the right way to go. Maybe they might just change it up.
I think it's going to be Mumbai Indians in itself. I think they're going to
Yeah,
continue with
yeah.
that particular name. You don't have to
It's a
change
So it's
franchise.
gonna
everything.
Yeah,
be
you don't
there
have to
should be
change
some
anything.
distinction. So maybe MI Mumbai
No, I
Indians
don't think
W,
there should be
something like
any
that.
distinction at
Maybe
all.
like that.
Only distinction could have possibly been if, for example, Chennai Super Kings and Queens. That was a possible
Yeah,
distinction which you
I
could
really
make.
wish there was a Chennai Super Queens.
Yeah, but at this point, I really think it's going to be same name, because the brand, the pages, social media pages, everything is going to be same. I don't think there's going to be a separate page for both the teams at this
Yeah.
point, at least from what I can gather. So they would want to continue with that same brand image, and similarly, what you saw with other franchises as well. It is tough to create a brand name all of a sudden and get going from the word go to start from scratch. It's never an easy task because
Hmm.
at this point, one of the biggest downfall, one of the biggest backfall for the entire um, women's IPL being in such a short span of time is going to be to gather all these franchises, set up a team, logistics, coaching staff, prepare for auction. Because today is the only day they're getting confirmation that these other teams are going to be in contention for the IPL, and these other teams are going to participate in the IPL. So now you have to find coaches, you have to set up a team, managers, every possible thing, and to run a franchise. It's not going to be easy at all. And amidst of all this, now to
Yeah.
create a whole different another brand, that's going to take. It's going to be divulging into a lot of things, and it's not going to give the ideal start for women's cricket. So for that particular reasons, the teams who are already there will continue with the names. Is what I personally feel. Maybe it could change.
I think
Yeah,
all the
definitely.
teams
I
do
think
have
the
even their
teams.
names. So even Adani
Yeah.
Sportsline is, yeah, Adani Sportsline owns Gulf Giants in the ILT20. So I think
Yeah, so
most likely the
that name,
Ahmedabad
the
Giants.
Adani Sports, Ahmedabad Giants is
Yeah.
already confirmed by Adani at this point. So that's one name which I can say with
Oh yeah.
100%
All right
certainty.
then. And I think it should probably most likely be Lucknow Warriors as well because they own Sharjah Warriors in ILT20. So that's probably
Yeah,
what the names
possibly.
will be, regardless. Delhi Capitals, Bangalore, I mean Royal Challengers Bangalore. I think you don't need to change them even if they're women. So I
Yeah.
think that's pretty much what's probably expected now.
So
But
I
I
think it's
mean,
going to be
we did
Lucknow
speak about the
Warriors,
logistics
Delhi
and stuff like
Capitals,
that.
Royal
So
Challengers Bangalore, Mumbai Indians, and
yeah,
Ahmedabad Giants as is already confirmed by Ahmedabad.
I would have been happier if
yeah.
you
So
would have
absolutely,
had
that's pretty much how it's going to be.
Lucknow instead of Lucknow Warriors. If you would have had Kolkata Warriors or say a Kolkata Giants, but other than that, I think it's all fine. Yeah, because
I think
Adani
these
actually
all
went on and
probably
bid
have
for
to.
Kolkata and Guwahati as well. He bid the same amount, 1289 crores for
Yeah.
Kolkata and
No, but I think for me,
Guwahati, but
Sanimani,
he stuck to the
no,
Gujarat.
as far
Yeah.
as I'm aware, I think Ahmedabad is a very good place for a franchisee to own a team because you get a lot of money out of the ticketing revenue, right? Because it's a huge
But
ground,
it's
and
a shame that people
I
won't come
mean,
to Eden Gardens to play because I mean
yeah,
Eden Gardens
it
has its
absolutely is.
has a legacy of its own, and yeah, probably I
Yeah,
was expecting women's IPL to be played in Eden Gardens. Probably if they have the system of neutral venues at some point, we might get probably in the second or third edition where probably we get a two or three new franchises stepping in and then taking other teams because women's cricket has great prospect.
yeah,
I think if you just consider the amount of players that we have, I think we have a solid 20-25 players right now in the women's circuit who can come in and play in the top 11 at any point of time.
absolutely.
And uh, and then you have players coming from all across the world. It is going to be a great sort of a platform for players all across the world as well. Players like I feel sad about Atapattu. If you talk about the Sri Lankan team, I think Atapattu has carried the team on her shoulders, and I think she is the only player who
Yeah,
has been performing consistently. But since the other players are not up to the mark, Sri Lanka does not have any sort of reckoning in world cricket, in the women's world cricket at least. So I think it is good for players like them to get the get be a household name, get the world to know
I'm going to
them.
ask you a very honest question, guys.
Yeah,
Like, be very honest, right? Do you guys all really follow women's cricket like with the same passion as you do with for men's?
probably not with the same passion, but I think I mean we are not to blame for it. I love cricket. I watch women's
No, I
cricket,
just
men's
want to know
cricket,
this.
blind
I don't
cricket.
want diplomatic answer on this.
No,
Just
no.
be very
Honestly,
honest.
honestly, I
Heck
I like how
yeah.
Abel's put us straight on the. Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
think
I'll be very
for
honest
me, I
with
think
you.
Sadhimani, it's all right. I mean, yeah,
You don't have
Yeah,
to. You
I'll
don't
be
have to hide
honest.
it. There's
yeah.
no
I
shame in
think
it.
the issue is, I
No,
mean,
no, there is no shame in it. Probably we don't follow it
yeah, I
with the
mean,
same passion.
all of
We
us do
But
see.
I
watch.
Honestly, I'm
So I
not
think here's
watching.
what I think an average cricket fan does.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, here's what an average cricket fan does, right? When it comes to women's cricket, I think for me, or I'm assuming a lot of others as well, However, guilty I feel saying this, but I think most of us follow women's cricket during ICC tournaments. One,
Yeah,
or otherwise, if there's some exciting match that we come to know post the match is concluded, we probably just catch the highlights. I think for Australia
yeah.
series, for instance, when Australia toured India, I was catching the highlights. I wasn't watching the matches, but
Hmm.
I remember watching the World Cup. I don't remember the World Cup where India came to the finals and lost against England. Which
2017
season was
World Cup.
that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
2017. Because
I'll
incidentally,
tell you
Shikha
my
Pandey,
first
who played in
introduction
that
to
match,
women's cricket also was very similar like you, Jaren. 2017 World Cup was where I really started following women's cricket. And for me also, I don't
yeah,
follow
I mean,
every
for
game of
me,
Indian
just
women's
to
cricket.
But
for just to
I
like,
would differ
I
on that
mean,
because
people are
I
watching.
actually follow cricket. Like I follow women's cricket from I think from 2013 2014, and I keep tabs of what the Indian women's cricket team is doing at a certain point of time. Probably due to a busy schedule. Probably there are times when I can't even catch the men's cricket. So as to say, I have to catch the highlights. So
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
busy schedule is an issue, but if I have time, obviously I sit down and watch women's cricket as well. No,
My only
I
question is, do
honestly
you
I
watch it
won't
with the
go.
same interest, like
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
same
I
passion?
No,
obviously, I mean,
no.
Mithali Raj, Julan
I think
Goswami,
for
yeah,
that, people,
almost,
there's a reason for
almost,
that. I
almost.
think in terms of sport as well, women's cricket has come a long way, yes, but it is yet to, I think there are still a lot of holes there. You reckon
Especially,
Australia,
see, I'll
England,
tell you.
India are the three teams which are far ahead in terms of growth. England were the first team to become professional as a professional setup, give out contracts. Indian cricket, I think, never really took up to this trend for a long time. In fact, for a long time, Mithali Raj and Julian Goswami are a very interesting example because they've played under two different cricket organizations for women's cricket. That's just incredible how that worked. That shows how much how transcending of generations they have been as players. But England and Australia are too far away. Even today, I think if you really think about it, the Australian women's cricket team are in that generation of men's cricket team. When Australia used to dominate almost everything, and I think this World Cup as well, you might just see Australia dominate again. We are seeing it even in the under 19 World Cup, where India got completely decimated by the Australian under 19 team. So
Yeah.
uh, this just happens,
But to
right?
be
I think
fair,
that's where if
I think Australia started off on a bad note. I mean, Australia lost to Bangladesh in the first game of the under 19 Women's
they
World
did,
Cup.
they
So
did,
I think the senior
yeah.
team and the junior team are completely poles apart, and I think the junior Indians cricket team are the favorites to win the under 19 T20 World Cup hands down
I
because
can't really say they are the favorites at this point because New Zealand is again there,
Yeah.
yeah,
and we
I'll
have to
see.
face them in the
I'll tell you.
semi-final.
New Zealand and England are the two teams that are unbeaten right now. New Zealand
Yeah,
face India in the semifinals, and England face Australia in the semifinals.
yeah.
But to be fair to India and Australia, they had the tougher group. I mean, New Zealand and England went on to play some of the lower ranked sides in both. They were lucky
But can
enough
you believe,
to get that
teams
side of
like
the draw.
Zimbabwe, teams like Rwanda, they've all really come off pretty well
My
in this
favorite
World Cup,
was
which is
that.
quite,
Yeah,
quite
my
surprising.
favorite story has to be the team of Rwanda. I mean, what a story that is. I hope people are following, the women's under 19 team because they've just been incredible. I mean, they've beaten Zimbabwe, they've beat West Indies, and they looked incredibly difficult to beat. They have some great players under them as well. I know. I mean, not the most. What do you say? You wouldn't say the most orthodox way of playing cricket, not the most orthodox way of bowling, especially, but just works. And as long as it works, because that's the thing about sport, right? Everyone has their own way of doing it. I mean, it's just beautiful, and that's the reason why I just love the Rwandan team. I just hope these players, convert it on the national level, and they go a lot forward. Maybe we'll see some of these ladies, make fight it against Australia, Bangladesh, the women's teams
And probably somewhere
in the
down the line,
international level, in the senior
sometime
level.
down the line, probably after 3-4 years, we get to see them in the women's IPL.
I mean, we might
You
now
might
with
see
that
them in the
rule of
women's IPL this time around,
yeah, with
Sandhimani,
that
because
rule of
there's
one
an interesting
associate
rule.
player who can actually come in.
Yes,
There's a high
exactly,
possibility.
exactly. That's my point. So there is one associate nations requirement. So I just feel Rwandan team might just get raided by these five IPL teams because it's even especially the fact that it's the first season. Some of these players are very raw. Giving them this opportunity might lead to a lot of development. So why not? I mean, if these players can develop so much, and this is me saying without knowing anything about Rwandan cricket, but cricket in general, I feel, has to take off a lot in Rwanda, and I feel you give these ladies this opportunity at the young age that they are playing right now. I think they just go a lot further. And the women's under 19 women's IPL is going to attract a lot of coaching staff, a lot of technicians, because it's a opportunity in a lifetime. Because if you do well in this IPL, just speaking strictly from the perspective of a coach or a physio or who are the technical staff, because you get an opportunity not only to work with this team, but you might also get an opportunity to work with the senior IPL teams as well. So especially because these franchises are building a family of franchises, full of branches. I mean, just look at the MI team, for instance. They've got three, including the women's team now. Four, sorry, rather. In ILT20, they have won. They have won in SA20. And from what I've heard, they've even approached some of the teams in the 100 to get ownership, or part ownership at least, because the 100 is still county owned. But if they get a part ownership, then they'll have some say in. We might just see MI Manchester soon enough. So it's going to be that way. That's the reason why I feel that one associate nations rule. I was going to ask this question to you guys as well. I think that's just incredible, and maybe it's not a bad thing to even involve in the IPL, because I know BCCI does do a lot of work when it comes to these associated nations. It does provide some of them grants and many other things. Not a bad idea, that one associate player as an option at least. It's not going to be easy to implement in IPL. Should have happened maybe in the initial stages. Also, because men's cricket IPL, you feel there are a lot more competition already among the Indian players. But I still feel it's not a bad option. Maybe they can convert that fourth player, foreign player, to an associate nation, because we've seen that players of associate nation are doing a lot better, especially because of the Super League that happened, the ODI Super League that happened very recently. You saw some of the players from Netherlands and Ireland really do well at the T20 World Cup. So there is improvement of cricket in those nations, and something like this from IPL is just incredible, and you have to appreciate that from Jaisha and BCCI.
Yeah, definitely, and I think but I hardly think that this will be implemented in the IPL, because as you mentioned, if it was to be implemented, it should have been done a long time back. But I think even without the rule that you have to have one as a player from the associate nation, some of the IPL teams, you have players from Netherlands, you had players from Netherlands, you had players from Afghanistan come in. Right now, Afghanistan is not actually an associate nation when it comes to T20s. They're doing really well, but back then they were the associate nations. Yeah. And I think again, I'll go and I'll say KKR went ahead, brought in Rand Tendiskate when nobody else were sort of looking at players beyond the top 8 nations in the world. They went ahead and brought a player from Netherlands, and we have always, I mean, Bangladeshi play. KKR always considers Bangladesh to be their own team because Bengali and Kolkata. So I have that connection. See, there was Shakib Al Hassan. Now there is Liton Das as well. So this has been also, I think, Sunrisers Hyderabad is another team. Hyderabad is another team that focuses on these players, small town players, like associate nation players, and then inculcate them in the IPL, and they get a chance to play in the Grand League, which is not something. And even if they don't get to play a game, they are in the nets with. If you are in the Hyderabad camp right now, you are in the nets practicing with Dale Steyn, with Muthaiya Muralidharan, and Brian Lara. I think that is an achievement in itself, and I think that will do wonders to their game when they finally go back to their country. So yeah, definitely they can have a provision of having one player, one associate nation right now in the squad, even if they don't get to play. I think that will do them a great deal, boost their confidence by a great deal.
All right. I think we've lost. Yeah, Abel. So yeah, I mean, let's just look at some of the dates that we have for the women's IPL. Obviously, today was the day that the 5 bidders were announced. Now, February is when we're gonna have the inaugural date finalized, and it's said that from 5th to 26th March is the window that has been provided as of now. So what do you guys reckon about this window that we have right here? As you mentioned already, Abel, it is a very tight schedule. I know some of these teams, I think it'll be easier for Mumbai and RCB, personally for me, because they have at least something on the ground when it comes to when it comes to a franchise, especially because they have gotten their home turf as well, Mumbai and RCB in Bangalore. So that just helps them a lot. And that's the reason why I think they have a head start to some extent. Adani and Gujarat, obviously, there's some connection there, so you might just see them also probably make it easier. Going to be interesting. So for Adani and Capri, because they are still new to the IPL side of things. I know ILT20, it's also a very new, what do you say, league, and it's still ongoing. So how do you reckon that this window probably being so close by is something that I feel could have been a little bit more pushed further, because I feel that's too close to comfort for some of these franchises, especially because they're just starting off. It's a new league. It's not like something which has been repeating time and time again, that they already have things on the ground.
Yeah, firstly, to be
Abel,
talking
yeah.
about the window which you mentioned, see, it's still very early days in terms of pointing out whether this is going to work or not. You only will know about the success of that particular time period once it's done and dusted. And 21 days in a very tight schedule for women's cricket, I think you have to take it any day, and you will have to take it because that's the only option you have. You don't have a window like the IPL, which the men's do,
No, I
because
mean,
then you
would you
have a
reckon about the
complete
time
window.
day as, I mean, not talking about the match schedule, Abel. I'm talking about the time that, like, 25th today, right? 26th rather. Today's
I mean,
26th.
that's
I mean,
what
we're
that's what
speaking maybe
I'm
past
coming to
midnight.
that as well. I'm coming to that as well because I did
Yeah,
mention
sure.
earlier on as well how it's going to
Yeah.
be very hard for franchises to
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
set up a coaching staff and to get their ground running, because today was the only day where you get to know as to these are the five teams who are going to take part in the IPL. Now for them to really
Hmm.
set up the entire logistics network in itself is going to take a long while, which is possibly a 6 month long process which they'll have to do in the next 5 to 10 days. Now it's not going to be easy. I still think a lot of teams have already set it up, and when you have ground running when it comes to men's teams, I think they can actually take physios, all the back end stuff from the men's teams to the
Yeah.
women's games. But then now what's going to also happen is the men's team is also going to start camping from March. A lot of these domestic players, a lot of these
Hmm.
players who don't represent the international sides start joining the IPL camps by March, where they'll have a complete training for 1 month as well. So this is where you'll have to really find yourself and set two different coaching staff, two different physio setups, logistic network completely. Because now what's also going to happen is the viewership. Now Indian men's team are also going to play one day series and test matches during March to March end. Now if
Hmm.
Indian men's team are going to play in that window, which will mean that there's going to be a lot of split viewership for the same women's IPL, which is not a good thing again. Why men's IPL became such a big product is because in that 2 month window you don't have any other cricket other than just to watch IPL. So everybody have no other option but to watch IPL across the world. Now they've been all forced to technically to watch IPL. Now if I'm a Pakistani as well, I will barely see a Pakistan team play during that window against quality teams. Even if they're going to play, they're going to be playing possibly Zimbabwe or a Bangladesh team, and
And
that
I
is
think
where
Zimbabwe and Bangladesh will put up a strong fight against Pakistan.
yeah,
I won't be surprised if
that's a different question
Bangladesh goes
altogether.
to Pakistan and defeats them at their home,
Yeah,
given
but
Pakistan.
that's a different question altogether. But my point over here is even Pakistanis are forced to watch IPL, and they are actually following IPL intensively because of the fact that there is quality of cricket. Number one, number two, they have no other option other than to watch IPL during that particular phase because there is no cricket available in the world. Now that is where women's IPL
Yeah.
will suffer a lot of it. Maybe as women cricketers, you won't have any other cricket to watch. If you're a women cricket fan completely and in and out, you will have to say I'm going to be completely into women's IPL because that's the only thing which I'm going to get to watch in the next 1 month or so, and you will be completely divulged into it. But now the question is, if there's going to be men's cricket which is going to take or which is going to get going from March in different maybe other men's teams are also going to play, will the viewership get split or will viewership will be constant for women's IPL completely? Now that's going to be a very interesting thing, which you can only find out once the women's IPL gets going. You've seen a lot of leagues in India fail because of this very reason, because of the split viewership, which which
Hmm.
can be a major
Yeah.
factor in an ecosystem like India. We need to understand what is the consumer and what does the consumer want to intake in a country like India. In a country like India, cricket is still a very marketable asset. And women's cricket over the last 6 years have taken off in a very rapid rate, which nobody could even imagine. Today, the women's franchise have been sold at a valuation of 4,669 crore, is a testament to where and what the women's cricket have actually reached up to. Now, from here on, it can only go even higher. But the only issue and the only volatility about the entire scenario in this is whether women's IPL will get that constant viewership like the men's IPL. Can it actually
And also,
take
you have to
off?
take into account that we'll have the final match of the Border Gavaskar Trophy and also the three ODIs that will follow in that
Exactly.
time period between
Okay, but a
5th
Border
February.
Gavaskar Trophy will be played during the day. Either way, that's a different audience that you can still manage. Test cricket, you can still manage to get test viewers watching matches at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m.
True,
in the
but
night
but
in
still
women's
there will be
IPL.
three ODIs, and I think
That's where. But
I
that
totally
that's
agree with
that's
you on
also
the
just three
yeah.
days, right? 3 days of women's IPL. You still can manage it. Now, that is where you'll have to be careful as well. If at all, you where I personally think it might happen is when there is a clash between men's IPL and women's IPL in the future. If at all that happens, then it's gonna take a hit on the men's IPL. Or else you can follow the
No,
BBL
I
model
think
and
for
now
me,
again
Abel, that might not happen because I think
That will
that
be
might not happen. The
suicidal,
reason I
right?
say that is because some of the yeah, no. The main reason I feel is see, even if the administrators want it, I don't think the franchisees who are invested in IPL and women's IPL will want it. I mean, it might profit probably. I mean, team. Then if that's the case, then you'll see some of the franchisees, like for example, Bangalore and Mumbai. I mean, those are the only two franchises that have invested in this case. But in that case, and Delhi, sorry, these three franchises might not be happy with that if men's cricket and women's cricket combined together. In fact, I won't be surprised if this is the only season because I feel some of it was still haphazardly, very quickly put together this whole women's IPL
Exactly,
season.
and
And
I
I think
think we
what Abel
plan it in
mentioned
such a
very
way
early,
so that we have one season,
yeah, I
the
mean what Abel
season of
mentioned very early about PSL coming up, women's PSL coming up is probably the reason why you saw BCCI rush towards grabbing that market in the subcontinent, so as to say. Because there is no potent league in the subcontinent. What you have is the 100 and the
I
BBL,
mean, if
two
women's
leagues which
PSL would
have
have come
the
ahead
women's
of
BBL and the
women's
women's IPL.
IPL, it would have been a huge bad image for
Exactly. They
BCCI
wanted to take
completely.
the first movers advantage. They wanted to take the
Absolutely.
first movers
And not
advantage,
just
and that's the
that,
reason why you
all the
see this
women
come very
cricketers,
quickly.
and not just that, all the women cricketers across the world wanted IPL to happen because they all felt they all do support
Correct.
IPL franchise at the end of the day. And they all dreamt of
Yeah, yeah,
representing
yeah.
their favorite franchise in the women's IPL as well. And now at this point, Royal
Correct.
Challengers coming up is great. Mumbai is coming up is great. Delhi Capitals is coming up is also very good. So it's a step in the right
And
direction
I
for
think
women's IPL.
if India just goes on to win the T20 World Cup, which will just get over right before the women's IPL, I think that will be the best case
Yeah, yeah.
scenario for BCCI right now. If India goes on to win the T20I World Cup, and then we'll have the women's IPL inaugural
Hmm.
women's IPL, just like we had the first men's T20 World Cup, India won, and then we had the first
Yeah.
edition of IPL. That would be the icing on the cake right now, and I think BCCI would be hoping for that. And then
But you know
then
what,
things will
Sandeepani,
be different.
men's IPL was announced after the win, but here
Yeah.
it's already announced, and that
No,
was
but things will be
men's
different, right?
T20 World Cup was the reason
Because
why IPL was
people,
announced.
as you said, most of the people in our country follow women's cricket only in the ICC tournaments. That too, the major ICC tournaments. Majority of the people are not following under 19 Women's World Cup, but they'll go on and follow the T20 Women's World Cup if India goes on to reach the knockouts at least. And if you have India going on in the semifinals, winning, and in the finals they go on to win it, and then we suddenly people will think that where can we see them next, and then BCCI can really go on and promote CV. Come here, 10 days we have the women's IPL, and people will be really excited to catch a hold of their favorite players right after the World Cup as
Yeah,
well. So I
yeah,
that way
that's going to
too
be very
BCCI
interesting.
wanted to, yeah,
That's going to be very
exactly.
interesting, as you
All right,
mentioned,
guys. And
because
one final thought: who do you reckon is going to bag the highest bid amongst the players that we have for the franchise? Because some of them are going to pick their what do you say, marquee players. So, who do you reckon is going to be?
I personally think Smriti is going to be representing Mumbai. That's what I personally think because there's this Maharashtrian connection, and they would really want to invest in
Yeah, yeah,
Smriti
yeah.
because she's a long-term asset. And looking at how Mumbai operate, I think Mumbai is one team which Smriti will go to, and she could be the highest paid player as
Hmm.
well because she is a marketable asset at the
Yeah.
end of the day. Alongside that, I think Shefali, considering the format. I think Shefali is going to go for big bucks alongside Elisa Perry if she's going to take
What's the
place,
age?
or Megra. If Megra is also going to come in and take part in IPL, or any of them. Even from England, Danny Weir, or anybody who's going to come in, Sophie Ecclestone, anybody who's going to come in from overseas also going to get a lot of bits. Primarily because this
Yeah.
IPL is going to be massive for a lot of players, and I'm pretty sure the price
Hmm.
tag is going to really draw a lot of these women to come out there and play, especially women
Yeah,
from all across the
absolutely.
world. As you saw with men's IPL as well, it's going to be very similar. And not just that, now with the media rights also going at a very high rate, now which also will mean that the women's IPL teams will get a large chunk of purse to spend in the IPL, in the auction as well. So which will mean the bids can go to anything close to 5 to 7 crores as well. Highest bid could go up to 7 to 8 crores, which is very very good to start off for a women's IPL in the opening year of the IPL. Because I remember when MS Dhoni went for close to 1 million back then, when the auction was held in USD, it was a big deal.
Yeah,
Similarly,
yeah.
if any player got a million, that's a big deal, and that's a huge head start for a product like women's IPL to get going in India. And I personally think any player, it all depends on dynamics as well. Understanding the team building process, you won't expect crazy prices because all the owners will be very wary of not spending and overspending as well, because you'll have to build 20 players odd.
Hmm.
It is not like you get retentions as well, right? You'll have to build a complete
Yeah,
squad
yeah.
from the scratch. So you'll have to be extremely smart in terms of your buys, in terms of your expenditure, and your marketability as well. Because today, if Mumbai has Smriti, they can really market the asset very well. So tomorrow on the posters of Mumbai,
Yeah.
it's gonna be Smriti Mandana and Rohit Sharma, or Jemima Rodriguez and Rohit
Hmm.
Sharma, which are two locals from
Yeah.
Maharashtra. And Jemima is a Mumbai girl as well. So these are things which they're going to consider. Or Smriti coming to Bangalore. Virat Kohli and Smriti Mandana with number 18 jersey is going to be marketed everywhere. Possibly. So these are factors which
Hmm.
they will definitely dwell into. Harmanpreet as well. Harmanpreet now tomorrow leading a Gujarat franchise, which is quite possible. So all these kind of factors you'll have to consider, and I think uh, at least four of the marquee players of the Indian team will get sold at a very high price, which also includes Renuka, who's a youngster. I think she's going to go at a very good price because
Hmm.
she's already won the young emerging player of ICC 2022. So which
She
means
was
that she
in the
is
T20I team of the year. She was in the ODI team of the year.
absolutely. And if she has a good T20
Yeah.
World Cup as well, I'm pretty sure. I know auction is going to happen before that, but the fact is that if she goes on to have a good T20 World Cup, that means she's going to have a huge base for her to kickstart in IPL, and from there she can actually go on to maybe break all the possible bowling records. I know she has a big shoes to fill because she's going to be filling Julian Goswami's shows. It's not an easy thing to do, but definitely she's one bright prospect for Team India at this point.
See, I'll tell you four
So
players
Himani,
from
what about
India
you?
getting the big bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you four players from India getting the big bucks and four players
Yeah.
overseas. I think from India, I think definitely Harmanpreet Kaur, Shefali Verma. Uh,
I think
then
four players is you being too diplomatic. It's too easy to pick four players. I would say
Yeah,
pick two, chalo. Four is too easy, dude.
yeah, okay. I'll go with I think Shefali Verma and Dipti Sharma. I think these two players are going to get the big prize. Obviously,
I mean,
Harmanpreet
Dipti
Kaur
Sharma is a
and
very good asset to have in your
yeah,
team because she can bat in the top four if you want. She can ball
and
as
she has
well.
been in
So
great form
that's a
with the
very
ball. Yeah,
interesting pick
exactly.
there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Dipti Sharma and Shefali
Uh,
Verma here, and I think also Smriti Mandana and Harmanpreet Kaur are obvious choices, and hence I said four. But if you talk about the overseas, I think Talia Megrat is going to get the biggest prize, and probably she might be the most highest
hmm.
paid among the Indians as well. So Talia Megrat right now, and I think also Ellis Petty, Beth Mooney, and Danny White. So from
Danny
England.
White is a good choice. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah, I mean,
exactly. I
Alisa
mean,
Healy as well. I think she's going to be a very
No,
interesting
but
pick because she's loved playing
Alisa
against
Healy.
India.
Yeah, but the thing with Alisa Hilly is that even though she is a brand in herself, like Ellis Perry, but the problem is she has not been in the best of forms in the recent times. And people,
Yeah, but I think for
if I
me,
were the owner, I would go for
yeah, I
Beth
think for
Mooney
me,
instead of
Sonimani,
Alisa Hilly right now.
I still feel, because she is someone who's built her reputation over the years and because you are trying to build a team and not really, put a player in a specific role into
But
your
let me
team,
tell
I
you
think
one thing,
she
Jared,
might
all
still
these
go for some for a
Australian
high
women
rate.
cricketers are going to really break the bank. As you saw in IPL with the English players, Australian
Yeah,
players are
yeah.
going to get a very high
Correct,
price.
correct,
Definitely,
And
and
absolutely.
they are the ones.
also not to
I
forget there
mean,
is Meg Lanning, there is Ash Gardner. Anyone can come in and fetch the big prize, and
yeah.
also from England as well. I think Ecclestone, Sophie Ecclestone is going to be a very good buy because a bowler who can definitely come in and
And
play the
also
big shots.
Kaka has been doing a very decent job
Haka,
as well.
great, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I just threw another name in there. Sehrawat, who's had an
Shweta
incredible
Under
Sherawat
19,
contribution
is
so
yeah,
far for
from
the
under
dominating
19
the under
onwards, yeah.
19 circuit right now. Yeah,
But I
Yeah, I
think
mean, she
it's
got an
very
average
way
of
too early for her to go for a
115
very high
and a
price,
strike rate of 142.
I mean
She's an
Shefali Verma
underrating
is
player. You
totally
can build a
totally
team with her.
dominating her when it comes to the strike rate, but just the class
Yeah.
of
does she really have
how she's going
142
about.
strike rate? I think she has close to 120, right? If I'm not wrong. I don't think
No,
she's
no, no. It's
145.
the
No,
average
I
is
think,
close
I
to
mean, she has
120.
142 as far as I'm aware. Yeah.
Yeah. Average is
115 average and
115
142 strike rate.
and 142 strike rate. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
Well,
she
all
has
right,
been
guys. And I
disposed only
think that's pretty
twice
much it
in
from
5
our
games.
end. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it
I
from
think we
our
can
end, then,
continue,
guys.
in
We had an
terms of that.
extensive.
Yeah. We could have actually continued for another 2 hours as well. But there's a lot to talk about because there's a comeback stream.
But then I have to go somewhere. If you guys want, you are interested, you can continue. Yeah.
It's okay. We'll end it. We'll end it. I think that's a good comeback stream to have. We can catch up some other
Yeah.
time and we can actually dwell much into it.
Yeah. Well, guys, all right then. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back.
Well, I'll just
And
make a
we are
comment.
going to be continuing
There's
to
a
deliver
comment. I
content.
think we'll end the stream with this comment. It says something that Connie's lips are seductive, I think.
I'm just curious. He meant lips or lisp? I mean, they
Either.
Maybe it's both together. I mean, who knows? Who knows what people like nowadays, Sandipani? Thank you so much, guys, for joining. We will be back. As we will mention, we are trying to, make sure we cover almost everything that happens in cricketing world. As difficult as it is, we'll also be trying to come with some, what do you say, watch-alongs, maybe some, especially some of the football matches as well. We have a team here for that as well. So hoping to see you guys on some of our other contents as well, and hopefully there won't be a break like last time. So thank you guys for joining, and we'll be back soon. Yeah.
Bye bye.